welcome to today's tutorial. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make these 3 adorable Halloween bandanas. This is a super easy, beginner-friendly tutorial. Let's just go ahead and get started. Alright, so first off, some disclaimers really quick. Feel free to sell any of my finished products you make with this pattern. It is just super appreciated if you could please give me credit and tag me in your finished pieces because I would love to see them. This pattern is for right-handed crocheters and is in US terminology. The stitches you will need to know in this pattern are chain, slip stitch, single crochet, half double crochet, and double crochet. Also, a disclaimer is I yarn under instead of yarning over in my stitches, so if my stitches look strange to you, that is why. For this reason, I will not be going into great detail on how to do the stitches, but I will link tutorials on how to do any of these stitches down below if you're unfamiliar. And feel free to comment down below if you have any questions on this pattern at all. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so for this tutorial, you will need any weight for worsted weight yarn. I'm using Big Twist Great Value, and this is in the color Bright Orange. I will also be using a weight 4 in white and black, but you can use any colors that you want. You will also need a 4mm hook, a pair of scissors, and tapestry needles. I'm using 2 size tapestry needles, but you don't need to. You can just use whatever size you have. Optional is a tape measure. Also optional is an iron or a fabric steamer. Let's get started. Alright, so to make our bandana, we are going to start with a slip knot. So take your yarn and place the tail over your palm like this, so the end is by your pinky. And then you're going to wrap the yarn around your finger, like that. And then take the working yarn and place it under the loop, like that. And then you're going to pull it, holding on to the tail and the working yarn. You're going to pull it tight to make a slip knot. Place your hook on the slip knot. Now we're going to go ahead and chain 71. You can chain however long you want. This is going to be the width of our bandana. You can go ahead and chain however long you want to make it the length you want. Just make sure that your chain number is an odd number. So I'm going to do 71 chains. Alright, so now I have 71 chains. This measures to about 15.5 inches, or roughly 39.5 centimeters. This may seem a little bit long to you, but once we do our first row of single crochets, it's going to significantly shrink in length. Alright, so once you have your chain of 71, we are going to single crochet all the way down, starting from the second chain, but we are actually going to be working into the back bumps of our chain. So here's the front side, and if you flip it over, you can see these bumps. So here's our first bump, and then here is our second bump here. So in that second bump, we are going to single crochet. Alright? And then you're just going to single crochet all the way down into your back bumps. Okay, so go ahead and do that, and I will meet you at the end. Okay, now as you can see, we just have the one last bump left. So we'll go ahead and just do a single crochet into there. And now we have our first row done, so we can go ahead and measure it so you guys can see the difference in length. So as you can see now, it's at about 12.5 inches, or about 32 centimeters. Alright, so once you're done with your first row of single crochets, you are going to chain one, and we're going to turn our work, and then if you look at our hook, we have our chain on our hook, and then our first stitch is this one right here. We are going to skip this first stitch, and we're going to start in the second stitch. So we are going to place one single crochet into that second stitch, and then we are going to skip the next stitch, and we are going to place one single crochet and one double crochet into the same stitch. And that is our stitch sequence going all the way across. So we are going to skip the next stitch, and then in the next stitch we are going to do one single crochet and one double crochet into that same stitch. Skip one, and then in that next stitch we are going to do one single crochet and one double crochet into the same stitch. And we are going to repeat that all the way to the end, and I will show you what to do once we get to the end. Alright, so as you can see, I am at the end of my row and I have 4 stitches left. So I'm just going to repeat that sequence one more time of one single crochet and one double crochet into the same stitch, and then I'm going to skip one, and then in this last stitch here I am just going to do one single crochet, and then I'm going to chain one and turn my work. Alright, and then we're just going to repeat that. That is just what we repeat throughout the whole bandana. So to start off, we always ignore this chain on our hook, skip the first stitch, and then into that second stitch we will do one single crochet, skip the next stitch, and then into that next stitch we will do one single crochet and one double crochet. Skip one, and then into the next one, single crochet, double crochet. Rinse and repeat all the way down. And then when we get to the end, I'll show you. We can go through it again together. Alright, and once again, I am at the end of my row. I have 4 stitches left. So in this second stitch, I am going to continue my sequence of one single crochet, one double crochet, skip the next stitch, and then into this last stitch I am going to do one single crochet, chain one, and turn my work. Skip this first stitch, and then in the second stitch we are going to do one single crochet, skip the next stitch, and then we do one single crochet and one double crochet. And you are just going to repeat this sequence until you get to the tip. Alright, so I've gone ahead and done a few more rows, and as you can see, the bandana really starts to slant as you do your decreases on each side, and you can really see the lovely Suzette stitch start to form. Alright, once you are at this point in your bandana, near the tip, once you have 4 stitches left, so here's our chain, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? We are going to skip the first stitch, and then single crochet, and then double crochet into that second stitch. Okay? And then we're going to skip one stitch, and then single crochet into that last stitch, just like we were doing before. Alright, then we're going to chain one, And now we have 3 stitches left, and we are going to put 3 single crochets into that middle stitch. So skip the first stitch and then do 3 single crochets into that middle stitch. Alright, now from here you're going to chain 1, and this time we are not going to turn our work, we're just going to continue and we're going to single crochet down this entire edge. So in this first hole here, you're going to do 1 single crochet, and then you can kind of see this little hole here. You're going to do 1 single crochet there, and then everywhere that you can kind of see a hole. And you're just going to continue that all the way down until you get to this corner. Alright, so as you can see, I have single crocheted all the way down, and now I am at my corner, and I am just going to place 1 final stitch into the corner, just like that. Okay, and now from here, I am going to make my straps. So you can make them as long as you want. I am going to chain 90 for my straps. Alright, so now I have a chain of 90. Just like before, I am going to be crocheting into these back bumps. So starting from the second bump, I am just going to slip stitch and continue that along each of the bumps. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch down each of my bumps in the chain, and I will meet you back here when I am back at my corner. Alright, now as you can see, I just have 1 final bump left. This one can be a little tricky to see, so just make sure you get that last one. Alright, slip stitch, and then we're back at the corner. We're just going to go ahead and put a stitch right into that corner. We're going to do a single crochet. And now from here, I am just going to single crochet along this top edge. I'm going to crochet over my tail from the beginning. So to do that, just keep your tail kind of along the top edge, as if it's part of the edge, and then you can see your first stitch. Go into your stitch, keeping that tail over the edge and your hook, and then you will just single crochet like normal over that tail. I just kind of pull it taut as I go along, just to make sure it doesn't get all bunched up underneath my stitches. And then once you reach the end of the tail, it can be a little tricky to keep it where it needs to be, so I just always hold it down with my thumb as I'm completing my stitch. So kind of insert your hook, lay it down and hold it with your thumb, and then you can finish your stitch. Just continue holding it like kind of down with your thumb. So. As it gets tinier and tinier, it can be a little trickier, so just kind of keep going. Hold it down with your thumb, and then finish your stitch. And then, as you can see, it's kind of just a little tail now, so we can kind of just keep going along like normal. See? Just go ahead and continue single crocheting down to your next corner here, and I will meet you back here. Okay, so as you can see, I just have one stitch left, and then I'm at my corner. And we are just going to repeat what we did on this side for our strap. So we're going to go ahead and chain 90. Alright, so now we have our 90 chains. And just like the other side, we're going to slip stitch down into each of the back bumps. Here's the front. And you can see these little back bumps are what we're going to crochet into. Okay, so this is the first bump, starting into the second bump from our hook. And we are just going to slip stitch. Insert our hook into the bump, and then slip stitch all the way down. Okay, once again, I will meet you once we're back at our corner. Alright, so once again, we are at that last back bump. Don't forget that one. Boop. Beautiful. Alright, so now we're going to start crocheting down the opposite edge, and we're going to do it just like we did before. So first we're going to place a single crochet into that corner. And now we're just going to single crochet into each of the holes going down. So each of the holes is a row, and we're just going to crochet into each of them. You can kind of see. You shouldn't have to force it too much. It should be just like a little easy hole. Stick your hook through. Alright, and then we're just going to crochet all the way down until we get to the tip. Alright, and then once we get to the tip, we're just going to find that first single crochet, and we are just going to slip stitch into that. And then we're going to chain one to fasten off. Alright, there you go. And then we are just going to weave in this one end. We should only have one end because we crocheted over our first end. So go ahead and weave that in. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to make the 3 different appliques for the bandanas. So I'm going to start with the ghost. I am using this blue yarn because I thought it might be easier to see than the white. So just use whatever color you want. I'm going to be making mine white in my finished product, but we are going to start out with a slip knot. Leave a generous tail to start. So wrap it around your finger and then pull the tail through the loop. and hold on to that tail and pull. Alright, so once you have your slip knot on your hook, we're going to go ahead and chain 5 to start off our ghost. 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we are going to be crocheting into the back bump of our chain. Okay, so from the second bump from our hook, so this is our first one, here's our second one, we are going to do 3 single crochets in each of the next 3 bumps. So here's 1 single crochet into the next bump, 2 single crochets, and then into this next bump, 3 single crochets. Okay, we have one more bump on our chain, and in this last bump we are going to put 3 single crochets just into this bump. So 1 into the same one, 2, and then into the same one, 3 single crochets. Okay, so now we are going to be working down the other side of our chain, and we're going to repeat what we did on the other side. So we are going to place a single crochet into the next 3 stitches. So you can see here is our first stitch, 1 single crochet, and then our next stitch, 2 single crochets, and then our third stitch, we'll do 1 more single crochet, and then into our last stitch here, we are going to do 3 single crochets. Alright, so into that stitch, we are going to do 3 single crochets all into the same stitch. So 1, 2, and then into that same stitch, our third single crochet. Okay, so as you can see, we made a little oval, we crocheted all the way around, and now we are back at our beginning, and this is our first stitch. Okay, and now in the next 4 stitches, we will place 1 single crochet, one, 2, 3, 4, and now we're gonna chain 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And just like before, we're going to be working into these back bumps. In the second bump, we are going to do 1 slip stitch, and then in the next bump, we are going to do a single crochet, and then in this last bump right here, it can be kind of hard to see, right here we are going to do a half double crochet. Just like that. Kind of have this like mitten shape going on right now. This is the tail of the ghost. So now we are going to go into the next stitch on our oval body. So you can see this is the stitch we were just working into, and we're going to go into this next one. And we are going to do 1 single crochet. Just like that. Alright, now we are going to do 3 more single crochets. So 4 total if you count the one that goes onto the base, but we're going to do 3 more. So 1, 2, 3, and now we are going to chain 3 for the first little arm. Chain 3, and then again working into our back bump, starting from the second bump, we are going to slip stitch 2 down the arm. So 1 slip stitch, and 2 slip stitch. And now we're going to go into the next stitch. This is the stitch we're working into. We're going to go into this next one and do 1 single crochet. So now we have 1 little arm done, and now we're going to do 5 more single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And now we're going to make our second little arm, so we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then once again in the back bumps, starting from the second bump, we are going to slip stitch 2, 1, 2, and then single crochet onto our next stitch on our base. So here's the stitch that we are working into. We're going to go into this next one and do 1 single crochet. Alright, now we're going to just single crochet to the tip of our tail. So we'll do 1, 2. These ones can be a little tight because they're that other side of our chain. Oops. 3, 4, and 5. And now we're just going to chain 1 to fasten off, and we will leave a long tail to sew it onto our bandana. Alright, and now we have our little ghost shape. I like to embroider eyeballs onto mine, so I will show you how I do that. Alright, I'm going to show you how I embroidered my little eyeballs. It's very simple. So I'll show you how to embroider the eyeballs on the ghost if you want to, and the spiders. It's the same concept, so feel free to do this however you like if you have a style that you prefer for embroidery. But what I like to do, because these are so small, I have normal black, or whatever color you want, worsted weight yarn, and I'm actually just going to cut off I'm going to cut off just the length of that. I don't know, maybe like 6 inches. Oop. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just unwind this yarn and split it in half, just like that. If you have embroidery floss, you can totally use that too. This is just what I have. Oop. So then you're left with like half a strand of yarn. Okay, and then I'm going to use this tapestry needle. It's kind of a skinnier one. I couldn't tell you what size, I'm sorry. You're going to thread the yarn through and leave just like a little tail like that. Okay, alright, and then from there you're going to take your little applique. You can see this is the front. You can see the stitches are kind of more ridged up on this side versus this side is the back. Another way to tell is that your starting tail should be on the back, like that. Okay, so we are going to take our thread and we're going to start from the back. So we're going to pierce the ghost, and I'm going to start where I want the top of the eyeball to be. So I don't really have a rhyme or reason, honestly. All of mine kind of look a little different, but I kind of like it that way. But you're just going to find like the top of where you want your eyeball to be, and you're going to pull the string till you have, I don't know, that's good. Enough to tie a knot at the end, so here is where I want the top of the eye to be, and then I'm going to find where I want the bottom of the eye to be, and I just do little slit eyes. Oops. And we're going to pull it. Look. Now he has an eyeball. Okay. So once again, now we're going to do his left eye. So we are going to find where we want the top of our eye to be. Pull through. And then find where you want the bottom of the eye to be. And pull through. Cutie. And now we have our strings in the back. Doesn't really matter what the back of our ghost looks like because it's not going to be seen. So I like to just tie these into a knot. Cut the ends short. Cutie pie. But yeah, that is how I embroider the eyes on my ghosts and my spiders. Just like that, very simple. If you want your bandana to look like mine, go ahead and make 9 ghost appliques. Or you can go ahead and make however many you would like. Alright, next I am going to show you how to make the spider applique. So for this one, we're going to start with a magic ring. So start by placing the tail across your palm like this, and then grab it with your pinky and your ring finger. Take the working yarn and wrap it around your fingers like this, and then take it and cross it over, and then grab that yarn with your ring finger. And now you're going to take your hook and you're going to go underneath the first loop and grab the back loop and then pull it through, and then you're going to twist like that. And then this is your working yarn here, so you're going to grab that. You're going to grab that and you're going to chain just like that. Alright, now I'm going to pinch that like knot with my fingers, and you have your magic ring. So when you're working into your magic ring, just make sure that you're going underneath the tail and the loop. Alright, so now we're going to do 8 single crochets into this loop. So we're going to go underneath the loop and the tail, pull up a loop, and do 1 single crochet. Under, pull up a loop, 2 single crochets, go under, pull up a loop, 3 single crochets, under, 4 single crochets, 5, 6, 7, 8. See? And then we are going to pull on this tail to tighten up our circle. Sometimes finding that first stitch is difficult, so I like to start from my hook. So here you can see our first stitch, well, technically our 8th stitch, right? 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay? Sometimes counting backwards can help with the magic rings. So we're going to go into that first stitch. Okay? And we're going to do an increase in every stitch now. So to do an increase, you'll do 1 single crochet, and then in that same stitch, you're going to do another single crochet. So 2 single crochets in 1 stitch. And we're going to do that all the way around, so we'll have a total of 16, so you can count as you go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, in the same stitch. Alright, next stitch, we'll put 2 more. 5, 6, the next stitch, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. So we have just doubled our stitches around. If you want to double check and make sure that you have 16 and you didn't miss any, you can start by counting from this first chain from the hook and counting all the way back and make sure you have 16. Alright, now we are going to work into the back loops only. So what that means, when you have 1 stitch here, you see the V. So this is 1 stitch here, right? So this is our front loop here, and then this is our back loop. Whoop. So this is our front loop, and this is our back loop. So into that back loop only, we're going to do 1 slip stitch. Now we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And just as we've been doing, we're going to go into these back bumps. And we're going to do 3 slip stitches down. So 1, 2. And don't forget your last one. Okay, and then again into the back loop of our next stitch, we're going to do 1 slip stitch. And now we're going to repeat that. You can see we got 1 little leg. We're going to repeat that 3 more times, so chain 4. Into the back bump, starting from the second bump, we're going to slip stitch 3 into our next back loop. We are going to do a slip stitch. And now we're going to repeat that 2 more times. Alright, now we got our 4 legs. We're just going to do our last slip stitch in the back loop to connect that 4th leg to the body, just like that. And now we're going to do 3 more slip stitches into this back loop. So 1, 2, 3. And now we are just going to repeat our leg sequence on the other side. So we're going to just do chain 4. And 3 slip stitch down in our back bumps. Alright, and then slip stitch back loop only onto our base. And that's 1 more leg, and now we're going to repeat that 3 more times. Okay, now we're finished up with that last leg. We're just going to slip stitch it onto the body in the back loop only, just like that. And now we're going to do 1 more slip stitch in the back loop only. Now we're going to do 2 double crochets in the back loop only. So in the same stitch, 2 double crochets. So 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, and then into that next stitch we're going to do 2 more double crochets in the back loop only. So 1 double crochet, and then 2 double crochets, just like that. And now in this last stitch, we are just going to slip stitch into that back loop. And then we're going to chain 1 to fasten off. We are going to leave a long tail for sewing. And there we have our little spider. And you can go ahead and add eyeballs just like you did for the ghost if you want to. If you want your bandana to look like mine, go ahead and make 5 of the spider appliques, or you can make it however many as you like. Okay, next I will be showing you how to make the skull applique. This is my favorite one. It is super fun to make. So we are going to start with a slip knot. And place that on our hook. And then we are going to chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. And then we're going to be working into the back bumps. And we're going to be working into the 3rd bump from our hook. So 1, 2, 3. We're going to be working into this 3rd bump. And we're going to place a double crochet. And then we're going going to do 1 double crochet in these next 3 bumps. So 4 double crochets total. 2, 3, and 4. Alright, now we are going to chain 2, 1, 2, and we're going to turn our work. And we are going to do 4 more double crochets down. So starting in this first stitch, 1 double crochet, and then in our next stitch, 2 double crochets, 3 double crochets, and 4 double crochets. Okay, now we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. Now we are going to place 2 half double crochets into this first stitch. One half double crochet into the same stitch. We will do 2 half double crochet. And then in the next stitch, we're going to do 1 half double crochet. Now we are going to chain 1, and we are going to skip this next stitch and go into this next stitch. And we are going to place 1 half double crochet. And then in the top of this chain 2 from the previous row, we are going to place 2 half double crochets. 1 and 2. Now we're going to chain 5. Turn our work, and then we're going to find this chain space that we made from the previous row, and we're going to do a single crochet into that chain space, just like that. And now we're going to chain 5 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we are going to slip stitch into the top of this chain on this side, just like that. And then we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. Alright, and then into this 5 chain space that we made in the previous row, we are going to place 5 half double crochets in this chain space. So we're going to go in and do 1 half double crochet, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then in this single crochet from the previous row, we are going to do 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and in this next 5 chain space we made, we're going to do 5 more half double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then in this stitch right here, we are just going to do a slip stitch. And then chain 1 to fasten off. Leave a long tail to sew. And here is our little skull applique. If you want your bandana to look like mine, go ahead and make 7 of these skull appliques, or you can make it however many as you want. Okay, so now that you have your bandana and your appliques, now is the fun part, or maybe the not so fun part, of attaching all of your appliques onto your bandana. So I like to kind of go ahead and line them up to decide how I want to place them and to make sure that they are evenly spaced. Now I'm just going to go ahead and start sewing them down. It's pretty simple, and I like to have mine kind of hanging off to create like sort of like a lace detail, if you will. So we're just going to kind of sew from the bottom of the body and leave the tail and like the little, just the tail and like the very, very bottom of the body hanging off like that. I'm going to take my tapestry needle and the last tail of our ghost and kind of weave in that tail to get it to about the mid portion of the body. Like that. And then we'll go back to the front and to the side where we want to kind of start sewing. So from the front we want to make sure that we're keeping the tail and where we're going back through with the needle relatively close together, so that if the tail's here, we're not putting our needle here, because you will be able to see that string kind of going across like that. So we want to make sure that we are picking a spot that is close to where the tail is coming out. And then I'm just going to kind of flip it, go through the bandana like that, and pull it through. Okay. And then going from the back side, I'm just going to go across. You won't see the back side as much, so it's okay if it's not perfect. See? And now I'm going to go over to the side this way. And stick it through the bandana. We're just sewing. Just hand sewing it on. And then I'm also going to sew along so that the arms and the head are sewn down as well. Alright, and now I'm just going to stick my tail to the back of the bandana. Just like that. And I'm going to bring this first tail, this is our starting tail. You can either weave this in to the ghost if you want, but I like to kind of weave it up to my other end so I can tie a knot and it's a little bit more secure. Maybe not as aesthetically pleasing, but more secure, I think. So I'm just going to tie a knot. I'm just going to take both the tails through my needle at the same time and kind of weave them back through the ghost, just kind of randomly, like that, to finally secure them. Okay? And then just cut your ends close. And we have one little ghost on our bandana. So just go ahead and you can place them however you like. I am going to go ahead and sew the rest of my ghosts on, and I will be back. Alright, and here is my finished ghost bandana. I just like to give mine a quick steam block to really help it keep its shape. What do you guys think? I think it came out super cute. Alright, there you have it. Now you can make your own one-of-a-kind Halloween bandana. Please comment down below if you have any questions at all, and I will do my best to help you out. If you decide to make any variation of this bandana, please tag me on social media because I would love to see them. Thanks for watching. Bye.